everyone, welcome to Reactivated. We're going to get straight into it this time. We're going straight into a bot bit. On the screen you will see two robots in combat, and we're looking for the names of the two robots featuring in which series. The answer will be revealed a little later on in the show. Now we're going to move on to our fantasy fights. We are midway through the first round battles. Of course, Carbide and Mighty Mouse have so far survived. Our third round fight is... Wheelie Big Cheese. There we go. Wheelie Big Cheese from Series 5. Good, probably the best robot Roger Plant produced. So that's a good robot. Wheelie Big Cheese will be up against... Oh, now that's interesting. Can Opener from Series 6. Now remember, Can Opener was pretty good in Series 6. They of course won the Annihilator. Invertible, much better than Series 5. And Wheelie Big Cheese. Now this is going to be close. Can Opener, more manoeuvrable, can get the claws in, and actually is probably just the right kind of shape for Can Opener to actually get hold of the block, the wedge of cheese, the flipper. But I think Wheelie Big Cheese would get in 1, 2, maybe 3 decent flips, and similar to what happened against Wheelie Big Cheese against Crustacean in Series 5, would flip it so high and so ferociously that Can Opener would be rendered immobile and potentially even throwing out the arena. So for me, Wheelie Big Cheese goes through. We've got time, and I think we have got time for one more fight. Yes, we do. To round off the first round fighting is... Tartan Terror from Series 5. Remember Tartan Terror? They were against Exterminator and lost to Exterminator in the first round. Correct me if I'm wrong. And finally, to complete the lineup, our next robot is... Oh my goodness me. Typhoon 2. Well. This would be absolutely no contest whatsoever. Typhoon 2. What a robot to get out. Well, that would be it. Tartan Terror hadn't even really any manoeuvrability. Very slow. Typhoon would just... I think Tartan was even made of wood, wasn't it? On the underbelly, round the bottom. Typhoon would completely annihilate it. And what a fight that would actually be. Imagine seeing that. Just Typhoon destroying a bit of wood. So for me, that's it. Typhoon go through, and it'll be Wheelie Big Cheese versus Typhoon 2. And of course, then we've got Carbide versus Mighty Mouse. They're our second round fight. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be an interesting lineup. So there we go. And now our merchandise memories. Continue with the review of the original 6 robots, house robots, and of course Hypnodisc that you could get. And today we will be reviewing, here we're going to do Dead Metal. So of course we're going to mark on features, realism and overall impression of Dead Metal. For me overall, this was a very difficult house robot to replicate from the actual show. It seemed such a fiddly job. Dead Metal for me, probably one of the most complex house robots anyway, with how it looks, and as an actual purchase, along with the barrels, of course, that Dead Metal came with, for me, I think is my favourite all-round purchase. And I'll explain why in a second. So the features, obviously he's got his crab claws here, looking lovely, and his circular saw here, heads forward, backwards, forwards like this, as it does in the actual show. I mean, for a toy, that's pretty good. It looks mean and moody, of course. It wasn't originally black. One of the features I'll get back to in a second. So in terms of features, I'm going to give Dead Metal a 9 out of 10. The one thing that does let it down originally was the colour. Dead Metal wasn't grey. So for our reboot, we painted him black and mean and moody, which is really, personally, what he should have come in the first place. So, realism towards the actual show. The actual series looks pretty spectacular, to be honest. For a toy, that's as good as you're going to get for anyone. In fact, Dead Metal's probably one of my favourite looking toys of the whole range that you could get. So I'm going to give Dead Metal a 9 out of 10. So overall, there is my rating on the back, and with the barrels as well, adding to the pinball arena. And also, there we go. There's a tiny little feature. It looks like Kilolot's claw. If you see that there, that was actually in a feature that went onto the back of him like that. There you go, and that was his original colour. It was the grey, if you remember. And we did actually have that on him for one of the series. And I can see it was a good addition, because if a robot was flipped or Dead Metal wasn't facing the way of the robot would get impaled on the spike. So very neat design for me, Dead Metal. As promised in the previous episode of Reactivated, I'm going to get through as many questions as I can today. So we're going to start from the top. First is Taz91. Why did Elliot stop appearing in our videos? Simply, believe it or not, we're actually quite a private group, and simply put, he just didn't want to be featured visibly. That's just a personal, private thing. Of course, that was then left to me to do all of the front of camera content. So thank you, Taz91. That's the reason. It's just you only see me, really. I do have a couple of others who also work behind the scenes who never really get mentioned either. They are also the same. So thank you, Taz91. Now we go on to the Bot Builder. Thank you, Bot Builder, for your question, which is, what did you think of Julia Reed as Philippa's replacement? Now, at the time when Series 4 came onto the telly, and of course we had the build-up of her interview that she was in one of the Robot Wars magazines. She seemed very knowledgeable, and yes, I missed Philippa. I think Philippa is Robot Wars, the pit reporter. But Julia Reed was a decent enough stand-in. But then as the years went by and started looking back and re-watching the series, and especially Series 4, there's quite a lot of, for me, a noise around a reporting technique, and when she was talking to the teams, I didn't think she quite knew what to talk about, and I don't think she was that into the series. She was better for me personally than Jane Middlemas. Certain parts of her presenting style that just made me think, you're just making stuff up and you don't really know what you're talking about. You're trying to rush certain bits. You don't really want to be there. That's my view on it. Thank you, Bot Builder, for that question. Now, going over to Sagaris2. Apologies if I've pronounced that wrong. What would you say is your most iconic robot from your series, and how would it fare if it entered in real life? Good question. Very good question. Iconic, I mean, I suppose the obvious one would be, and I think you all know what I'm going to say, is Revolutionist. I do think that if Revolutionist was in the actual show, maybe debuting earlier rather than later, would stand a chance, a bit like Hypnodisc. The only problem is with Revolutionist, never had a Shremek. Had a Shremek in our second series at the back. That was actually based on an improvement from our first series, because quite a few times we did have the Shremek on Revolutionist's back, but it kept falling off. So then when we put Revolutionist in for Series 3, it returned without a Shremek, basically on the basis that the gyroscopic speed would stop it from being flipped, but how wrong we were on a few occasions. So in the actual show, you go, say, Series 3 onwards without a Shremek, you're pretty much dead. So Revolutionist wouldn't really stand a chance, I don't think, in modern day Robot Wars. It would have needed the addition of a Shremek. You might also be wondering why we didn't actually put a Shremek on Revolutionist. The simple answer is we had nowhere to put it. So thank you, Sagaris2, for that. Next we have Samuel Lima. Do you have any advice on how to organise, prepare and make a fan-made Robot Wars series? Thank you, Samuel Lima. Keep up the good work. You said you are in the middle of trying to film your third series. When we came to filming, certainly the rebooted series, you first and foremost, you've got to have the capacity and the ability to first make your robots. It's as simple as that. That's easier said than done. We probably averaged out about 100 robots maybe, and then we whittled them down to 6 lots of 6 for the heats. So a lot of robots you actually never got to see on our series. They're somewhere in a box in a loft, rusting away. Then once your robots are done, of course you've got to build your arena. Now we're lucky; we have people who could build an actual full-size arena made of MDF, and of course all the features that went into the arena. Of course we had RefBot's counter as well. It's not just me; there's a team effort behind the scenes. Once you've got your arena in place, of course, then you've got to think about all of your technical parts, your technical bits, your cameras. What's best? A lot of content I see online is done on mobile phones, which is great, but if you're wanting good quality, you've got to invest and buy good quality cameras. For filming Reactivated here, I'm using a Sony Nex VG20, which is actually 10 years old now, but it still does the job. It films in HD. I've got a boom. You can see, well, you can't see. Oh, I might turn the camera around so you can have a look. The main, you can even see in some parts when we do film this series that our camera does come up on the shot every now and again. That's the main camera. We do have side cameras. We even do use our mobile cameras for house robot footage, the slow motion footage. So that is quite hefty investments. You're probably looking for a decent camera. You're looking at a good £2,000 or £3,000 for a decent camera. It's entirely up to you though. If you think that an iPhone or a tablet or whatever is good for your content, you do that. It's entirely your decision. It's your channel, your videos. If you think that's great, you carry on doing it, because there is some cracking content out there on some basic quality devices. So once you've got that in place, then of course you need your editing software. We use Adobe packages for editing software, Pinnacle as well. We do have Pinnacle for the main edit. And then of course you need to get your team together. Depending on, you can be solo, you can have, it's entirely, like I said, it's entirely again what content you're creating. But for us, at the start of the year, when we came to do the reboots, we had the robots. Okay, robots are done. The arena's in working order and is ready to film. All the lighting, all the sound, the video elements, they're all in and around. You're committed to a time and a date when you want to push the show out onto the channel. And between filming and that commitment of producing the end result and getting it on the channel, you just work like mad. We film a whole episode in less than a week. A whole series in less than a week. It's the post-production for us that took the time. So, Samuel Lima, I apologise I whittled on a bit there, but you just need to organise your schedule, prepare and commit. Right, before the cease does go, there is time to now just quickly go back to our bot bit. Before we saw 2 robots in the arena fighting, and if you said S3 versus Mousetrap in Series 5, you'd be correct. What another mad heat that was as well, because you had Stinger in there as well, you had Plunderbird, you had so many veteran robots, and to have S3 versus Mousetrap in the second round of a tournament is ludicrous, but of course S3 ultimately coming out on top. Cease. There is the cease. Thank you all so much again. Please like, share, download, subscribe. We'll keep making content for as long as we possibly can, but in the meantime, please leave your questions below. I will answer them in the next episode of Reactivated, and thanks for watching.